throw to the right. Montez Sweat picked it off, and now he's running in.
This is just no way to spend your Thanksgiving.
I mean, we could have gone on and on and on with the editing equipment right there. It's the Lowe's home studio right now. Now, look, I know you guys are not really into golf, okay? There's something called a breakfast ball, okay? That's when your first shot of the day in the morning goes into the woods or in the lumberyard or wherever it goes.
You've been there.
Well, I mean, yes. So you're offered another shot.
So
a mulligan.
A mulligan, Rich.
If you will. It's time to either take your breakfast ball and get to mulligan or just keep that and play out of the woods. What would you like to do, Michael? You want to revisit the issue of who wins the NFC East right now? Or
well, but I told you this anyway, Rich. I told you guys that sometimes, you know, how difficult it is for me when we're dealing with least and talking about things that are at the bottom. So I'm expecting to be foggy when we come to these situations. You know, this is understandable. But let me tell you, I know because a couple weeks ago I said it looked like the Giants. They were the only team, and they were the only team ticking up, and then the Cowboys stepped up and made a couple great defenses. They looked like they were ready, and you know, and even Champ allowed me to get emotionally involved a little bit more. But then, of course, they let us down again, and now it looks like Washington, Coach. I say Washington right now is the team to beat. And the thing is, in the story of 2020, it's Alex Smith that really solidifies this football team now. Think about that. And that's an incredible story right there because that defense plays well, but then Alex Smith doesn't take those crazy risks up the field that the other guys have done, and therefore got them in the game.
So, Irv, you had the Giants for a while.
I had
Who's
the
going to win
Giants.
this? Then you had the Cowboys. Now you have the Washington.
I think Washington right now looks the best.
You're a flip-flopper. And so, Rich, I didn't say they would run the table. I said they would win the division.
I'm gathering new information as we go.
So, I mean, when you look at Dallas' schedule, they can win 7 games. I didn't say they would win them all.
Smooch is playing out of the woods. You're going to play out of the woods.
Hey,
Mike's
Washington plays at the Steelers next, all right? So, they, you know, different schedules. And then Dallas, they can win these games. They have Baltimore. They have 20 guys out right now with COVID. And then it's Cincinnati with no Burrow. And it's the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Giants. They can win these games.
They lost another set of tackles, Coach.
Haven't we learned,
how many tackles can they lose?
We're saying the same thing now.
Haven't we learned, though, that in the NFC East in 2020, nobody wins games that they're supposed to win? Even though the Giants today taking on Brandon Allen, that would give them 3 straight wins in a row. And you know who swept the Washington football team this year? The team that I said on Thanksgiving morning was going to win the NFC East, the Giants.
The Giants, yep.
Yeah. Just throwing that out there. So, again, enjoy being back in the fairway. And again, Mooch, you should just get out in the fairway, just keep hacking out of the woods, and then maybe you'll find the green.
Maybe.
The Broncos and the Saints today, what a fascinating contest this is, although I'm sure James Palmer, the Broncos, would use a different word than fascinating. They're out of quarterbacks today. Take it away, James.
Well, you're right, Rich. And yesterday, I'm told that President CEO Joe Ellis, John Elway, and Vic Fangio pleaded to the NFL to have this game pushed back to tomorrow, where most likely 3 of their quarterbacks that have been considered close contacts, including starter Drew Lock, would be available. Now, they were close contacts on Wednesday, but it wasn't until yesterday at about 12:45 during practice they were literally pulled off the field. So coaches continue to throw passes, and it was offensive quality control coach Rob Calabrese who was throwing a lot of those passes, and they considered actually, Rich, using him as their quarterback. That was deemed illegal, so they're going with Kendall Hinton as their starter, who a month ago, Rich, was working in sales.
I mean, you really cannot, if you will, make this up. Kendall Hinton, as you could see, has gotten some time at Wake Forest, but his time was as a freshman. He moved to wide receiver in 2018, and he hasn't thrown a pass since 2017 against Clemson. He also, his last touchdown pass, however, that's more recent than the last touchdown pass thrown by Taysom Hill, who is the Saints starter. Our great colleagues at NFL Research, Kurt Warner, looked it up. Since 1950, Week 12 is the latest in an NFL season we've ever seen a game feature a matchup of 2 quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, coming in with 0 passing touchdowns on their resumes. And Hinton in particular, this is his first NFL game, period, at wide receiver or quarterback. He woke up yesterday morning having no idea he'd be starting against the New Orleans Saints, of all teams. But I guess you would know about being pressed into service when least expected. So how do you think this affects the Broncos today in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, obviously, maybe impressed in his service was nothing like this. I mean, to think that they're considering and reaching out to figure out if they could use a coach as their quarterback. I mean, this is unprecedented, obviously, like a lot of things in 2020. And the first thing we can look at is the physical side of it, right? Is he didn't take any snaps. They don't know what kind of offense they're going to run. It's a completely different kind of quarterback than what they've had in that quarterback room. But the other side of that, Rich, is the mental side, not just for Hinton, but for this entire team. I mean, you're going into this game, every game so big in the National Football League, and you find out the day before that none of your quarterbacks can play. What does that do to the psyche of the rest of the team? I mean, I've had teammates that were game-time decisions and big-time playmakers for you, and they can't play. And I just remember the drop in the mental side of things, like, oh, man, we're losing one of our best players. You lose all of your quarterbacks. I have no idea what the mindset has to be for that entire offense, for that entire team, knowing we're going into a game with a guy that's never taken a snap at quarterback for us with a new offense that we haven't even run.
It really is unbelievable. And we'll have so much more to talk about on this show, on this game. Von Miller even tweeted out yesterday, how about me, essentially. He says his ankle's good for quarterback. Maybe not going ahead and rushing the passer. Just on games this year. Take it away, Sarah Walsh.
Rich, 3 quarterbacks have ever thrown for 50 touchdowns in a season, and 2 of them will be on the field today. Patrick Mahomes says this is no popularity contest with Tom Brady. He says Brady's the global star, and Mahomes is just trying to be himself. Bruce Arians tells us what makes Mahomes so unique is he does things you really shouldn't do. He said he'll throw it back across the field, sidearm, underhand, and he does it all accurately. Brady is still trying to find his rhythm in this offense. 9 interceptions, and the deep ball has eluded him. But Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo throws out those recent struggles and says we prepare for a player at his best. And he certainly hopes that Brady is not on Sunday, because he says at his best, we all know what Tom Brady can do.
This is the marquee matchup of the season.
Play together, play fast. Elko make plays up there. Let's go.
Dive into the end zone.
Touchdown. The Chiefs take the lead.
A game winner. The Patriots prevail.
Mahomes sends this game to overtime
For the win. And they're bound for Super Bowl 53.
You have the MVP of the league against the greatest of all time.
A rabbit out of a hat.
Somebody's starting to heat up, and he wears number 12.
Patrick Mahomes' revolution continues.
Look out, NFL.
It's going to be great later on today, indeed. Well, let's just hope it's better than Roy Jones and Tyson, right? You know what I'm saying? Look at those numbers. It's interesting. Brady's gotten 3 MVPs in his career, but none in the first 4 seasons, as Patrick Mahomes has notched, and a second one could be coming later on this year. Kurt Warner joining us here now once again on NFL Game Day morning from home. The game plan for Brady and the Bucs to beat the Chiefs today would be what? What are they cooking up with Arians and Byron Leftwich?
Rich, this is a team that has been wildly inconsistent. At times, they've been really, really good and really efficient. And in other games, they've been very inefficient. I mean, twice as many points in their wins as losses. Twice as many red zone trips. Twice as many big plays in their wins. And so they've got to find a way to be that efficient team. And I believe it starts with playing more Tom Brady ball as opposed to Bruce Arians ball, meaning more of the dink and dunk, more of the complete passes and get first downs instead of trying to wing the ball down the field. We've noticed over the last 4 or 5 games, Tom Brady has really struggled to complete those big balls. So we need the efficient version of the Bucs today. And I believe, once again, it starts with Tom Brady tight ball. Get the ball out of his hands, protect him, and get completions, get first downs, and then make sure you finish it with points.
And then, of course, there's that defensive side of the football that's going to have their hands full when Patrick Mahomes takes the field. Still to come later in the show, Michael Irvin sits down with Derrick Henry.